Hello friends, welcome back. So, I know it's been like 5 days and I hadn't been posting, and remember I still have school, so it's pretty hard. But hey, I still love posting videos and still love to entertain. And I'm not going to give up because I just love learning history. So, before we start the video, I'm gonna start my recording here now. And okay, it's still zero. But hey, I might actually change a lot in this channel. I might actually try new ways to make my videos better. Like like my videos is just those very average reaction videos where just like what you call that, the video just placed in this part, so it's pretty boring and I don't like it. So I might probably change it in like maybe in Friday. So yes folks, it's been a while, and today we're coming back to World War I, and we're reacting to the Lion of Africa, Paul von Lettow-Vorbeck, and we're reacting to the Great War for the first time in this channel. So if you want to check this video out, it's going to be in the description down below, and check their channel because they talk about the Great War or World War I. So Paul von Lettow-Vorbeck, also known as the Lion of Africa, was commander of the German colonial troops in German East Africa during World War I. His guerrilla tactics gained several world powers of the time are considered to be one of the most successful military missions of the whole war. In Germany, he was celebrated as a hero until recently, but recent historical research show a picture much more controversial than the one of a glorious hero. So yes, he's a pretty controversial person, but he revolutionized like guerrilla warfare. So this is the first time we're going to talk about World War I in Africa. So yes, let's get right into it. Hold on, my volume. Oh god, yeah, yep, volume.
The German general Paul Emil von Lettow-Vorbeck received numerous decorations, titles, and nicknames during his military career. Officially, he was a major general. Unofficially, he was widely known as the Lion of Africa, whose task during World War I was the defense of German East Africa. He influenced the course of the war in that colony enormously, pretty much defined modern guerrilla warfare by his actions, and he is known today as one of the best, and certainly most successful, military commanders of the First World War. I'm Indy Nidell. Welcome to another special episode of Who Did What
Indy.
in World War I. Von Lettow-Vorbeck was born March 20th, 1870 in Saarlouis, the son of another general, Paul von Lettow-Vorbeck.
Oh, by looking at where he was born, it looks like he was born in the Rhineland. Was it really called the Rhineland? Because it's near the border of France. It's called the Rhineland. After World War I, they demilitarized the Rhineland, so that I don't know much about Treaty of Versailles, so I might probably learn about that more.
In 1881, he joined the Cadet Corps in Potsdam, and 4 years later went to the main Cadet Corps in Lichterfeld. At the age of 18, he finished school as valedictorian of his class, and as the first cadet high school graduate in Prussian history, he received a mention by the Kaiser himself. That same year, he joined the Prussian army and was appointed lieutenant of the 4th Foot Guards. Lettow-Vorbeck's career went pretty well.
Oh yeah, before we continue, yes, I've heard the news. Queen Elizabeth II just passed away last 3 days ago. I know my English is not that good, but it's pretty devastating. For her for her to reign the United Kingdom for 70 years. It's amazing. He have beaten the record of being the longest reigning monarch in British history. The last monarch that hold that record was Queen Victoria. So it's actually amazing. Rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth II, and God save the King, King Charles III.
And he was assigned to the Army's General Staff in Berlin in 1894. As the century turned, he was stationed in China, where he helped to put down the Boxer Rebellion as a volunteer.
Oh yeah, I heard about the Boxer Rebellion, and I'm pretty interested on learning about it. So yes, maybe in the future.
The Boxers were organized Chinese militant groups who took violent action against the influence of the various colonial powers. Influence that had been growing and growing in China.
Yeah.
The Boxers wanted to free China from foreign influence. This rebellion was forcibly put down by the colonial powers: Britain, Germany, France, the USA, Russia, Japan, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, all working together. 3 years later, von Lettow-Vorbeck became adjutant to General Lothar von Trotha and took part in putting down the rebellion of the local Herero and Nama tribesmen in German Southwest Africa. In 1907, 100,000 tribesmen were dead, the rebellion over. Today, this is considered the first genocide of the 20th century.
Jesus.
Von Lettow-Vorbeck was promoted to major afterwards and spent several years serving in Germany until he was made commander of the Imperial Schutztruppe in German East Africa. He arrived there in January 1914. Half a year later, the war began, and he was tasked with the defense of the colony. He came into what would become constant conflict with his direct superior, Governor Heinrich Schnee, about how this would proceed. Schnee advocated simple defense and the preservation of the colony. Von Lettow-Vorbeck went on the offense. Time and again, he gave orders to attack, and his goal was to try to influence the European war from the African sidelines. This was in direct violation.
Oh yeah, I forgot. There's like a treaty that was signed by the European colonizers. You know, I don't know what you call them, but there's a treaty where I forgot what the treaty was.
Of the Congo Act of 1885, which all the colonial powers had signed, that said
Our Congo Act.
that in case of war, the colonies would remain neutral.
So yes, the colonies should remain neutral, but Paul Lettow-Vorbeck went on the offensive, so that's a major violation.
Von Lettow-Vorbeck was very successful, to say the least, even though he was pretty much always outnumbered, often by many times his own forces. He knew that he was not going to be reinforced or resupplied from Germany, and thus had finite resources. So after his victory at the Battle of Jasin in January 1915, he avoided direct and open battlefield confrontation. He managed to prevent the conquest of the colony for a while, but in 1916, the tide turned and the British and South African forces managed to successfully invade German East Africa.
Oh yeah, by the way, remember the British were naval blockading Germany, so that's the reason why they can't supply Paul Lettow-Vorbeck's army in Africa, because the naval blockade.
For the next 2 years, he continued to fight, still heavily outnumbered, but successfully by continually outmaneuvering his adversary. He was promoted to colonel, and when German East Africa finally fell in 1917, he retreated to Portuguese East Africa, now Mozambique. He defeated the Portuguese there and went into hiding with his troops, but eventually returned to German East Africa, and in October 1917 beat the British, Belgian, and Portuguese forces at the Battle of Mahiwa, after which he was appointed Major General.
Like guerrilla warfare nowadays. That's pretty cool. That's cool that and even though there's other even before this there's like guerrilla warfare, but this is amazing.
However, the British held an insurmountable edge in manpower, and von Lettow-Vorbeck was once again on the run. He actually managed to evade defeat and capture for the entire duration of the war, a remarkable feat, and his efforts tied down tens of thousands of Allied troops in Africa who would otherwise have been able to go and fight in Europe. He didn't learn about the armistice until November 13th, 1918, and was actually informed of it by the British, but he didn't lay down his arms until November 25th. After a short period of captivity in South Africa, he returned to Berlin on March 2nd, 1919, receiving a hero's welcome as the last fighting soldier. Other tributes followed, such as the Prussian decoration Pour le Mérite, and over the years, schools, streets, barracks, and public monuments were named in his honor. But von Lettow-Vorbeck's military career was not at an end with the end of the war. With a volunteer corps, the so-called Lettow Corps, he marched to Hamburg in July 1919 to put down the Sulza riots of the ultra-leftists, and in 1920, he took part in the far-right Kapp push, after which he lost his military commission. Over the years, he became a symbolic figure for German colonial revisionism, which demanded the return to pre-war colonial policies. And let's be clear here, his ideas and beliefs were extreme, certainly by today's standards. He was an overt racist and anti-Semite. To his credit, he was never a member of the Nazi Party, but...
Wow, imagine you being like a massive racist, and you're German at this time period where the Nazis were gaining power, but you're not a part of them. Wow. But still, it's pretty controversial.
He saw himself as a warrior for maintaining racial purity. He had, though, a great distrust and dislike of Hitler. And here's a good story. Charles Miller, who wrote the book Battle for the Bundu about the war in East Africa, says that when Hitler offered von Lettow-Vorbeck the ambassadorship to Britain in 1935, von Lettow-Vorbeck told Hitler to go fuck himself.
Oh my goodness, that is what I call a big balls move. Like telling someone as mad as Hitler to frick off. Hey, that man, gotta respect it. But still, pretty controversial figure.
Actually, that's not entirely true. According to the nephew of a German officer, von Lettow-Vorbeck.
Okay, even though it's not true, but still, if you're gonna keep on thinking about it, it's pretty cool.
Didn't put it that politely. The main reason behind this, though, was that he detested politics. He wrote several books about his role in the war, and in his final years, visited the scenes of his numerous battles. He died March 9th, 1964, in Hamburg. After more recent critical research into his life, many of the streets and buildings that were named after him have now been renamed. So there you have it, General Paul Emil von Lettow-Vorbeck. So what do you think? I mean, definitely a brilliant leader, but also a very controversial figure in the story of the war and the story of imperialism and colonialism.
Yeah, very brilliant leader, but pretty controversial figure, so... Hey.
Tell us your thoughts in the comment section below. Oh, and another German hero of the war was Manfred von Richthofen.
Ah, Manfred von Richthofen. Yes, the Red Baron. I actually made a video about the Red Baron, so if you guys want to learn about it, just check it out in the description down below. So yes, it's been a while since I recorded this video. I'm very, very sorry. But hey, I'm back. I might actually post another video like maybe next 5 days, or maybe in the Saturday because it's Wednesday, and I might post this in like around Thursday. So hey, I'll see you next time.